The crimson sun dipped low on the horizon, painting the sky in hues of red and orange, a breathtaking yet eerie sight on this desolate planet. Casting long, eerie shadows across the Martian plains, the landscape seemed to come alive with an otherworldly energy, as if the planet itself was whispering secrets of its ancient past. Dust devils danced in the distance, swirling columns of red against the ochre sky. These miniature tornadoes of dust and sand were both mesmerizing and menacing, a reminder of the planet's untamed nature. Exogeologist Dr. Evan Walker adjusted his visor, the familiar hiss of oxygen a comforting counterpoint to the unsettling silence of the alien world. Each breath he took was a reminder of the fragile barrier between him and the harsh Martian environment. He'd been exploring a newly discovered cave system, charting its depths with the meticulous care of a cartographer. Every step he took was deliberate, every scan precise, as he mapped the labyrinthine passages that twisted and turned beneath the surface. The air within the cave was stale, heavy with the scent of minerals and something else, something ancient and vaguely disturbing. The walls were lined with strange glittering minerals that seemed to pulse with an inner light, casting eerie shadows that danced with every movement. Then he saw it. Slumped against the cave wall, half buried in the Martian regolith, was a figure. The sight was both shocking and surreal, a stark reminder of the dangers that lurked in this unforgiving environment. A spacesuit, old, its white once pristine, now yellowed and cracked. Evan's blood ran cold. He recognized that suit. It was his own. The implications were staggering, a mystery that defied all logic and reason. How could his suit be here in this cave on this alien world? The discovery left him with more questions than answers, a puzzle that would haunt him for the rest of his days. Panic threatened to overwhelm him, but Evan was a scientist and his training kicked in. He checked the suit's vitals, his hands shaking. Dead. The occupant had been dead for a long time, but how? How could it be him? A faint beeping sound cut through his terror. It was coming from the suit, emanating from the comm unit. He almost didn't want to answer it. Almost. But curiosity, that insatiable human need to know, won out. With a gloved finger he activated the comm. A voice, distorted, filled his helmet. His voice. "Ivan, it's you, isn't it? Don't trust—" The message cut out, leaving Evan in stunned silence. It was a message from his future self. But what did it mean? And who was he not supposed to trust? Evan spent the next few days, or what passed for days, on Mars, camped outside the cave. He couldn't bring himself to leave, not yet. He kept replaying the message, analyzing each word, each inflection, hoping for some clue, some hidden meaning. He'd downloaded the data logs from the suit, but they were corrupted, filled with gaps and glitches. It was like his future self wanted him to know something, but was being prevented from telling him directly. He was isolated, alone with his fear and confusion. He'd always considered himself a rational man, a man of science, yet here he was, confronted with the impossible. His own death. A message from his future self, a mystery that seemed to unravel the very fabric of time. One cryptic log entry caught his eye. It was buried deep within the archives, almost as if someone had tried to hide it. The entry was brief but intriguing, hinting at a secret long forgotten. It mentioned a time capsule, hidden somewhere in the cave system. The coordinates were vague, but the promise of discovery was too enticing to ignore. He knew the risks involved, but the potential rewards outweighed his fears. A long shot, he knew, but he had to try. The thought of unearthing a piece of history, something that could change everything, drove him forward. He prepared meticulously, ensuring he had all the necessary equipment for the arduous journey ahead. He spent days meticulously searching, his headlamp cutting through the oppressive darkness. The cave system was a labyrinth, each twist and turn presenting new challenges. He navigated through narrow passages and climbed steep inclines, his determination unwavering. Finally, in a small, almost unnoticeable alcove, he found it. The moment was surreal, the culmination of his relentless pursuit. His heart raced as he reached out to touch the object, feeling the cold metal beneath his fingers. A small metallic box etched with the symbol of the Martian expedition, a stylized phoenix rising from a red planet. The symbol was unmistakable, a mark of a mission that had become legendary over the years. He recognized the symbol, his symbol. His blood ran cold. The implications were staggering. How could something from his past be here in this remote cave? Questions flooded his mind, each more perplexing than the last. Inside, He found a data drive and a single faded photograph. The photograph was old, the edges worn, and the image slightly blurred, yet it was unmistakably him standing among strangers. The photograph showed him, older, wearier, standing with a group of people he didn't recognize. They were dressed in similar expedition gear, their faces marked by the same determination and fatigue. But it was their eyes that chilled him. There was something unsettling about their gaze, a coldness that seemed out of place. It was as if they knew something he didn't, a secret that weighed heavily on their souls. They were filled with a cold, calculating look. It was a look he had seen before in the eyes of those who had lost their humanity in the pursuit of knowledge and power. Not the look of fellow explorers, but something more sinister. A chill ran down his spine as he realized the gravity of his discovery. This was not just a relic of the past, it was a warning, a glimpse into a future he was not prepared to face. Section 5. Echoes of the Past. The data drive was old, but miraculously it still functioned. He downloaded the contents to his suit's computer and began to sift through the files. There were research notes, geological surveys, and then he found them. Video logs. He watched in growing horror as his future self, his face etched with a desperate kind of hope, recounted a chilling tale. The expedition had made a discovery, something world-changing, but it had attracted unwanted attention, a powerful corporation with its own agenda. They wanted the discovery for themselves, and they were willing to kill for it. His future self had gone into hiding, determined to protect his work, to warn Evan. Section 6. The warning. The message from his future self became chillingly clear. He was in danger. The corporation, they knew he was coming. They had been waiting for him. That's why they had tampered with the suit, left it there to scare him, to drive him away. He had to get out, warn Earth, expose the corporation. But how? He was stranded, light years from home, with only a dwindling oxygen supply and a growing sense of dread for company. He had to find a way to transmit the data, to get a message out, but the corporation controlled all communications. He was trapped. Section 7. Temporal Paradox. Suddenly a thought struck him. If they controlled communications, how had his future self sent the message? Unless it wasn't sent from the future at all, what if it was sent from the past? His head spun. Could time be a loop? Was he destined to become the future self, trapped in this Martian purgatory, sending warnings to his past self? The thought was terrifying, yet oddly liberating. He had a choice. He could run, try to escape the loop, or he could stay, embrace the paradox, and fight. Section 8. Facing fate. He chose to fight. He would use their arrogance against them. He would make them think he was scared, that he had fled. He would become a ghost, a whisper in the data, a shadow they could never quite catch. He wiped the data drive, leaving only a single message. A message for himself, for the past, a message of hope and defiance. Then he hid the drive. Better concealed this time, a secret for his past self to find. He ventured deeper into the cave system, a place they wouldn't follow, a place where the echoes of the past whispered secrets to the future. Section 9. A New Perspective. Years later, or perhaps it was moments, Evan stood on the bridge of a starship. The passage of time had become a blur, a mere construct that no longer held meaning in the vast expanse of space. He had journeyed through the stars, traversing the unknown, and now found himself at the helm of a vessel that was both a sanctuary and a battleground. The Earth hung in the viewport, a fragile blue marble against the backdrop of infinity. It was a sight that never ceased to amaze him, a reminder of the delicate balance of life and the vastness of the universe. The planet seemed so small, so vulnerable, yet it was home to billions of souls, each with their own stories, dreams, and struggles. He was no longer the naive geologist, but a hardened survivor, a warrior forged in the crucible of Mars. The trials he had faced had reshaped him, molding him into someone who could withstand the harshest of conditions and the most daunting of challenges. His once soft hands were now calloused, his eyes steeled with determination. He looked at the faces around him, his crew, his friends, united in their purpose. Each member of his team had their own unique skills and backgrounds, yet they were bound together by a common goal. They had become a family, forged through shared experiences and mutual respect. Their camaraderie was a beacon of hope in the cold, unfeeling void of space. They had exposed the corporation, their greed and corruption laid bare for the galaxy to see. The once untouchable entity had been brought to its knees, its dark secrets revealed. It was a victory that had come at a great cost, but it was a necessary step towards a brighter future. The galaxy now knew the truth, and there was no turning back. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, Evan felt a flicker of hope. It was a fragile thing, easily extinguished, but it was there. He allowed himself a rare smile, a small gesture that spoke volumes. Hope was a powerful force, one that could drive people to achieve the impossible. He had cheated time, broken the loop, but at a cost. The temporal anomalies he had encountered had left their mark on him, both physically and mentally. He had seen countless versions of himself, each one a reflection of different choices and paths. It was a burden he carried, the knowledge of what could have been and what had been lost. He was forever changed, haunted by the echoes of the past, the whispers of what might have been, the faces of those he couldn't save, the moments he couldn't change. They all lingered in his mind. But he had learned to live with the ghosts, to find strength in his regrets. They were a part of him, shaping his resolve and guiding his actions. But he had also found his purpose, his reason for being. The trials and tribulations had given him clarity, a sense of direction. He was no longer adrift in the cosmos, but a man with a mission. His purpose was his anchor, grounding him in the ever-shifting tides of time and space. He was the protector of time, the guardian of history, and he would not let the past repeat itself. The responsibility was immense, but he embraced it with unwavering resolve. He would safeguard the timeline, ensuring that the mistakes of the past were not repeated. It was a role he had never sought, but one he was destined to fulfill. The journey, he knew, was far from over. But he was ready, with his crew by his side and his purpose clear. He faced the unknown with courage and determination. The stars beckoned, and he would answer their call, ready to explore the uncharted territories of both space and time.